In today's video, we'll showcase the New York City premiere of the American drama Fancy Dance. The film is directed by Erica Tremblay in her feature narrative directorial debut. The film is starring Lily Gladstone, Isabel DeRoy-Olson, and Shea Whigham. Make sure to watch the video till the end as we bring you some exclusive interviews with the cast and crew of the movie on the red carpet.
I was on board with this one before there was even a name for the character, before there was a world drawn. I just knew I wanted to work with Erica again. We did a short film called Little Chief. You can watch it on YouTube. You can see how this artist turns 7 pages into something that feels like a feature. And before I even left set, I wanted to ask Erica if she would consider making a feature that I could be in. And before I even had the chance to ask her, she said, "Can I write a feature for you?" I'm like, "Yes, please." So I knew that Jax was going to exist in some form to resemble what we did with Little Chief, and go watch that film if you're curious as to why. And then when I read the script for the first time, I was so swept into it. I wasn't even necessarily projecting myself into it. I just fell in love with these characters in this world, and had a moment where I was a little afraid I wasn't going to be able to rise to the occasion. But I know Erica wanted me for it. She wrote it for me. And it's such a, just like Little Chief, the immensity of what she and Miciana in this collaboration have been able to accomplish in a pretty tight narrative, a tight feature. There is such an expanse of millennia-long history that's just, it's gestured at, it's there for people who understand it, but it also exists very well in its own little world at face value. This matrilineal love story, we're told that the great love stories on screen are romantic, sweeping epics, but the commitment of this aunt to her niece, to her community, to the legacy of her sister, to searching for her sister, that's the greatest love story that's never told, but is the love story that's kept Indigenous peoples alive. It's kept us around. It's kept us connected to our land, our culture, to each other, and it's so rooted, especially in Seneca, Cayuga, a lot of nations around our matriarchs. I think Killers of the Flower Moon did a lot to establish Native people in an environment where you're not used to seeing us. The 1920s is, in comparison to the old Westerns, a contemporary story, and you're seeing Natives with money. And then today, Fancy Dance is same land 100 years later, and much of the same stories. We're dealing with a lot of the same issues that have manifest across the decades in different ways. But bringing Native peoples and bringing this language, Seneca Cayuga language, that was just spoken by less than 20 people who are still alive in the world, into a modern setting, it's revolutionary.
It's a perfect collaboration because it's told from an Indigenous lens, a female, writer, director. This story is about an epidemic that's happening in Indian country, all throughout Indian country, Canada, United States, MMIW, missing and murdered Indigenous women. It's going to spark conversation. It's going to spark questions, which is something that, it's helpful coming from cinema. There's so much education through art, right? So really happy to be a part of this collaboration. I hope that they see that this is an epidemic happening, and it raises awareness that Indigenous women, Two-Spirit, trans, are not getting the same coverage as, let's say, a Caucasian or someone else. So it's gonna raise a lot of questions, and it's gonna educate people on what's really happening. Yeah, I was just sitting with Lily and Erica, just having small talk, and being a part of such a powerhouse collaboration was really a dream come true. And to be a part of such an important story, to me, that's why we do this. It's fun being on set and everything, but when you're actually a part of a really groundbreaking story that's bringing awareness and teaching people something, is beautiful.
It's a dream. They're lovely. They're the most kind, generous, genuine people I've ever met. And getting to work with them is amazing. And, I think we all just really care about the film so much. And so much love was put into it, and I think it really reads. She's so young. She's so much younger than I am, and I love getting to play that youthfulness because it's really important to keep that hope, especially with a story like Fancy Dance. She's such a ball of light, and I just really love her. Ironically, I am a ballet dancer. We talk about the differences that those have, but ballet was such a big part of my life, and just honestly studio dance as a whole. And, I grew up going to powwows, so I had that foundation there. And to get to learn so much about powwow through my work it was such a gift. It was lovely. The movie really celebrates that femininity, and that connection that Jax and Roki have really is so lived in, because that's what Lily and I have. she really is like my auntie, and I love her. And what the film does so beautifully is it destigmatizes women's bodies. Roki's so proud of herself, and I feel like that's a message that all young women and young people should have, is just to be proud of their bodies, be proud of their culture. Lily and I had so much fun, off screen, that it's really difficult to pick a single moment, but we really had a lot of fun laughing even in our first scene that we filmed together. We were joking, quoting Willow behind the scenes within the first 10 minutes of being on set together. So it's really been lovely.
I'm so proud that this film is led and created by Indigenous women, because I really believe in that power and that strength, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. I hope that everyone really takes from this film that modern Native American lives are so overwrought with a lot of systems related to federal government and our history with treaties with the United States and other countries before the United States was founded. But we still managed to find hope, and connection despite all of these kind of imposed systems. And also family and tribe are so important, that's the core of who we are as Indigenous people, Native American people.
I think that it's really a mother-daughter story at its core, whether you take it literally or metaphorically. There's also something about family, the importance of it, the sacredness of it, the sense of perpetual belonging that nothing else gives you when it's really working. And I think Lily Gladstone, I think there is an undeniable star power, and she holds the screen, and every frame she's in, you don't want to look away. That was just a match made in heaven. I think there was something just that clicked immediately when you talked to them. There was this kinship that they felt just in their craft, and I think that they had so much fun together on set that it was easy to have that chemistry show up on screen.
At the start of the pandemic, we'd finished a short film, Little Chief, and the whole film industry had shut down, and we decided, are you ready? Are we going to make our first feature? And she had shared with me the character of Jax while we were making the short film, and I was in from the very beginning. We worked with Lily on our short film, Little Chief, so the film, we always had Lily in mind, and then the discovery of Isabel, we were so fortunate, and the chemistry between Lily and Isabel is something really special. Well, we brought the two leads out a couple of weeks in advance to learn choreography for the dance sequence, and then also to study the Cayuga language. And so they had those 2 weeks to really bond, and it was just sort of instant chemistry, though. It's something that as a filmmaker you hope will happen, and we were lucky enough that it did. To really get out there the plight, the epidemic of murdered and missing Indigenous women, which isn't covered in the media very often. Also language revitalization, and just the fact that Native culture is alive and kicking in contemporary America.
I was just really inspired to tell a story about Indigenous women as a member of the Seneca Cayuga Nation. I grew up with so many aunties and my mom and women in my life and queer folks in my life that work to protect our culture, our languages, and us as people. And so I was really inspired to tell a story about two Indigenous women, an auntie and a niece, who will basically do anything for each other. And we see them undergoing a lot of obstacles, but it's through their love and their joy for each other and their culture that they're able to transcend all of those issues and find connection on the other side. Lily and I have worked together. This is our second project, and we wrote the script. Miciana, my co-writer, and I wrote the script for Lily. And it was always okay, who's going to be our Roki? Who's going to be our Roki? And when we found Isabel, I just knew the two of them would have chemistry. And they showed up on day one of production, and we're doing language immersion and doing dance classes, and they just were a match made in heaven. They are friends to this day. It's wonderful. Sometimes you'll be talking to people, and they will be saying to your face, using the past tense when talking about Native Americans, and we're no, we're alive now, we're here, we're not just descendants of, we actively live and are, a part of our societies and the United States, all of it, around the world, even Indigenous people, like we're here, we're present, we're today. And so getting to see, young people in this film speaking their language fluently and interacting in a modern day and in a modern space was so important to us to showcase. And that's what I want to watch, so that's what I made.
There's just something so powerful and so authentic and so beautiful about Erica and the way that she tells stories. So it was really Erica herself that was the very first thing that connected me to her work. So when this project came my way, it just felt so... It just embodied everything that I knew of the way in which she was telling stories and the kind of depth and care that she takes in telling a story. There's something that happened with Lily and Isabel that is just extraordinary. Like, what you see on screen really existed behind the scenes in terms of how they connected with one another. And there was a genuine bond that developed between the two of them. And I think there are so many things that connected them in terms of they were learning to dance together, they were learning how to powwow dance, they were learning the Cayuga language together. So there were all of these things that were connecting them that were so important in terms of how they made that bond. It's beautiful. I think that it being a contemporary story of Indigenous people is really important because if you look at the sort of, what Hollywood has perpetuated, it's this notion that the people exist in the distant past. And so there's a way that, the media has worked to, it has pushed the erasure. The erasure is pervasive. And I think that by putting a story in the now, you really see that, yes, the people exist here and now, today. They're not part of a relic of the past,
Erica came to me with the story. She had a few story beats laid out, but she was just describing this world and these characters that I was like, oh my gosh, she's from Oklahoma, I'm from Alaska, but I could so relate to this auntie and this niece. And this story that she wanted to tell about the love between them and their community, and it was just so relatable that I was like, there's no way I can say no to this. It's a dream. Oh my gosh, every day on set, because I was lucky enough to be there and to watch them work, it was just magical. And I feel like every person we cast, they just so exceeded our expectations, but they were also just perfectly what we were envisioning while we were writing. It was literally like a dream come true. I was like, there's no better way that all of these pieces could have come together. It was everything.
What drew me to Fancy Dance is, as a producer, I'm always looking for incredible directors. And when I met Erica Tremblay, I pretty much fell in love with her vision and jumped on as soon as I can to support the film and to make sure it got made. I want audiences to take away that Indigenous storytelling is valuable, it's worthwhile, it's great business, and that there should be more demand for Indigenous storytellers and narratives that are from different genres.
The first day was working with Lily Gladstone, and walking on set and having that brother-sister connection. In our first scene, it was just like we felt that already. We felt that familial connection. It was very familiar, and the situation, it was very much like my own situation with my sisters. Having that tension there. You're wrong, I'm right, type of thing. What are you doing? That type of family dynamics was really something that I'm very familiar with. So it was great. That was my favorite. It was a great experience. The story itself is just amazing. It's something that really needs to be understood from this perspective. And the way this film speaks about it is just a wonderful way. I think it's where we're at right now. It's current times. So these are the stories that are going to be coming out. Things that are happening now that do definitely apply to what has happened and how we came to our current situation. So yeah, there's a lot of stories I believe that will be telling this tale, but also how we got here too, and then where it might be afterwards.
The script was incredible, and Erica is somebody who had such a specific vision and wanted to do something that was meaningful but entertaining, and to do it in a way that I'd never seen. And so it was really just her is where it started. And then to be able to have the pleasure of working with people that I've known for a long time and respected, like Nina Yang Bon Jovi and Heather Rae was just a dream. And then Lily. Lily is a powerhouse. And we hadn't had Isabel yet, but getting to know her throughout the whole process, the whole thing was just an honor. It's a really well done film that has something to say, that's entertaining, that's well done.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and comment on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when new videos are released.